This one quick makeup step that most people skip can take an okay makeup look into a really great one. Better yet, it can take your makeup that maybe didn't turn out quite the way you wanted it. Maybe your pores aren't looking that great, or your foundation and powder didn't settle into your skin quite the way you wanted, or your contour, blush, bronzer, or highlight are looking a little heavy or a little unblended. Whatever the issue may be, this can fix those issues and perfect your skin. It's great for any skin type to improve the way your makeup looks, smooth your pores, and give your makeup an airbrushed, kind of real life filter finish, which is something it seems everyone's trying to achieve these days. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I think there are a couple of reasons why this step gets skipped. I think it's not deemed as very important, but the more mature we are, the more necessary I think it becomes, which we'll get into here in a second. And I think the other reason is because if you have dry or mature skin especially, I think there could be a little bit of fear that it could make you look a little bit heavy, dry, or powdery, but the exact opposite is true. So it's been a few years since I've chatted with you about finishing powder. Now, even if you're someone who's not regularly a powder user, you're gonna wanna watch this video. Finishing powder is not the same as setting powder. Anyone of any age can benefit from finishing powder. I'm gonna go over 4 different benefits of finishing powder, what it actually does for us, what it's good for, and I'm gonna do a quick demo for you and show you how I use finishing powder. I use it pretty regularly in my everyday makeup routine, and then I'll give you some examples of finishing powders and brushes that I really enjoy applying finishing powder with. So just to give you a quick difference between finishing powder and setting powder, you typically use setting powder directly after your cream products before you apply any other powder products over them. Its purpose is to set your foundation, thus the term setting powder. Finishing powder isn't used to set your makeup. It's typically used as the very last step of your makeup over your color products, over everything else you put on your face, to kind of blend everything together to give a very diffused, perfected, polished, filtered look to your skin. It can minimize pores and give a filtered finish to your makeup look. It can also correct makeup mistakes. So if any of your color products applied patchy, maybe you used a very pigmented blush, bronzer, or contour and it just won't blend out the way you want it to, those harsh lines are still there, or you just applied too much. Applying a finishing powder as the last step of your makeup can diffuse that and basically make those problems disappear. Finishing powders can also give your makeup a different finish once your makeup is complete. So maybe you're someone who likes to set your makeup with a more mattifying setting powder because you get some shine and oil breakthrough. By using a more luminous or radiant finishing powder at the end of your makeup routine, you still get the benefits of your mattifying setting powder, but now you can have a more natural kind of candlelit glow look. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Finishing powder can also help your makeup last longer because you're locking in that final layer, those final color products you applied to your face. So if you're someone who doesn't want to use a setting spray day in, day out, adding that finishing powder on top is something you can do to help lock in your makeup a little bit longer. I can't tell you how many times I've been asked just throughout my lifetime when I was not using setting spray, how I kept my makeup on from morning until nighttime, how it just looked fresh all day long. And it was because I would lock it in with a finishing powder as the last step of my makeup. It took probably 20 extra seconds, but it makes a huge difference. I'm demonstrating today with MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural in Medium Plus. My skin tone is light medium with neutral leaning warm undertones. This is my favorite finishing powder, but I'll give you some other examples here in a minute. There are all different types of finishing powders. There are some matte ones, but many of them have a luminosity to them to give you that candlelit, that soft lit from within glow. So some finishing powders are translucent, completely translucent, and just give you that luminous finish. Others have a sheer tint to them that help give you that soft, airbrushed, diffused filter finish. And you can see how sheer this tint is. It's not enough of a tint that it's gonna mess up the tone of your makeup, and that's how a finishing powder should be. Now, I over applied some of my color cheek products and my highlighter on purpose so you could see exactly what finishing powder could do to remedy this. I mean, this could very well have been an extremely pigmented blush that I accidentally went in too heavy-handed with, and maybe I had somewhere to go after. What would I do? Applying finishing powder is quite honestly the easiest thing you can do. So I just dip my brush into my finishing powder and start swirling and buffing it across my face. I don't use too much pressure, and I think you can start to see the difference on the side of my face that I'm applying this finishing powder to. You know, I've had days before where my under eye concealer and powder is just not looking that great. It's looking a little dry, kind of patchy, until I apply my finishing powder to my entire face. And after that, everything looks perfect. It just is the magic bullet for airbrushing my face and making everything look seamless and perfected. And the best thing about it to me is that there are no rules with it. You just swirl it over your face. You don't have to go in any order. It takes 20, maybe 30 seconds tops, and your entire makeup look is improved. It's just a step that can make all the difference in the world. Now, I'm going to be including my top finishing powders in my upcoming top powders for mature skin video that's going to have finishing, setting, under eye, and blotting powders in it. So if you're not subscribed, be sure and subscribe so you don't miss that or any other videos I have coming up. But I wanted to go ahead and just give you a few options since this video is happening right here, right now. So Physicians Formula Butter Glow Pressed Powder has a subtle radiance, all of these do, that just makes it a great finishing powder. e.l.f. Halo Glow is called a setting powder, but the glow to it and the sheerness make it an ideal finishing powder in my opinion, and there are different shades to choose from. Sephora Micro Smooth Powder is phenomenal because of the glow, luminosity, and the sheer finish of Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powders. These make ideal finishing powders. Laura Mercier used to have one of my favorites. It was her Candlelit Glow or Candlelight Glow powder, but she is reformulating a lot of her products, and her new version is the Real Flawless Luminous Perfecting Powder, and this is in a translucent shade. And two great options that function for me beautifully as both setting powder or finishing powder are Givenchy, the one with the 4 different shades. It is living down in the vanity where I usually get ready day to day. I forgot to bring it up here, but there are different shades to choose from. It's a really beautiful powder. And Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder. This is on its last leg, but this is commonly used to set with, even though it's called a finishing powder, but you can use it for either. And this is one that doesn't have a sheen to it. There are more finishing powders out there. These are just ones that I had on hand and wanted to share with you today. Now, to apply your finishing powder, you don't want something as loose and full as a typical powder brush. You don't want something that's floppy, but you don't want something as firm and dense as your typical foundation brush. Now, my absolute favorite finishing powder brush is the Master Face Brush from Sonia G, but it is pricey. So I'm going to have some other examples here for you in a second, but I want to tell you why I love this so much first. No matter which finishing powder I'm using, it always picks up the right amount of product. It doesn't kick up too much product. Believe it or not, all brushes are not created equally with how much product they actually pick up versus kick up. It's the right size for all of my finishing powder pans. It's also the right size for my face, and it's the perfect softness and density. It is very, very soft, but it's not so soft that I'm not going to get any product on my face. It's not so dense that I'm going to get too much product and too much coverage, and I like the ball shape because it just easily gets into all the contours of my face. I don't have another brush quite like this one, but I do have some others that I will still use. I'm going to keep my Sonia G Master Face Brush out so I can compare the brushes I'm showing you to it, and I'll have everything that I have shared with you today and everything I'm wearing listed and linked down in my description box for you, and as many products as possible linked through through the YouTube shopping icons, but they don't have everything usually, especially not the drugstore items. So if you don't see something there, definitely check my description box. These are from e.l.f. This is the e.l.f. powder brush. This is the ultimate blending brush. So they're somewhat comparable in size, maybe a little bit smaller, a little bit different in shape. We have a flat top here and a slightly domed top here. I think this one is a little bit softer, but I have used and enjoy them both. I mean, you could just grab them both and see which one you enjoy the most. Neither one is too dense, which is sometimes the problem that occurs with brushes of this size. Another brush that I've used for finishing powder on occasion, although I do wish the size was a little bit bigger, is the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe number 7 brush. And this is a dual-ended brush, so you're getting more out of it than just the one brush. But I mean, you can see there is a clear size difference, and I have a small face, so keep that in mind. Now, this is a really inexpensive option, although the shape is completely different. This is from one of those beaky brush sets from Amazon. The size is comparable. It is somewhat denser, but it is nice and soft, and the set is very inexpensive. So you're getting a lot for your money because you're getting other brushes with this. It's extremely affordable. Now we have BK Beauty 107. Now this is a little bit smaller and it tapers, so it's more oval shaped, but the density is pretty on par with this Sonia G. So that's a good one. And then we have Refer number 37. I love this brush. This is one of my most used brushes for blush. It is smaller, but the density is very, very comparable. It feels just like this BK Beauty 107. So it just really depends on what you like. So now you have a bunch of options to choose from. If you've been wondering how to minimize the look of your pores, how to give your makeup that soft filtered finish, that airbrushed appearance, adding finishing powder as the last step of your makeup routine could very well be your answer. It works beautifully for anyone of any age with any skin type. I hope you found this video helpful and enjoyable in some way. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. If you are wanting to know how to apply your foundation and never look cakey again, be sure to check out this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.